everyone to Open to Connect. It's been, over 10 days or so since I've had a guest, so I'm really excited to get back into doing what I love doing. And today we have Edytte Hara joining, and she is someone that I met through mentorship calls that I do, and I started hearing what she was doing after a layoff and really wanted to highlight that and then highlight how to make connections through authenticity and just being yourself and showing up for a thing. So, Edytte, would you like to tell a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Edytte, and in the working world, I am a product manager, program manager, the PMs of all the PMs. I like to say I'm also super strategic on different projects and things like that. I think personally, and what I am in the inside is I like to take on challenges. I don't think anything is impossible. I think that there's always steps that we can take to get things done. I was a D1 athlete. I have run a few Ironman, run, swam, biked a few Ironman. I have done long distance running, I'm going to say.
Like I called it wogging when I was really avid, somewhere between walking and jog.
Legit, it was a walk. Like I got my money's worth for the Ironman. That's how I am. I think I finished my Ironman. I think the cutoff is 16 hours, and I finished in 15:59 or something like that. Like I get the full dollars amount. I am married and I live down in California. I just moved down here to the Fresno area last year. And I have 2 kids. This one that you can see over here, he is now 7. And then my youngest, she is 16 months. So I'm a mom of a little and a slightly bigger. So we're also learning about prioritization at home and work and all of those things. So that's me.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I know I could just jump straight into Ironman. For those that don't know, Edytte has swim? The swim is 3 kilometers. Is it
2.4 miles?
It's a 10K. It's a 10K, right?
Yeah, 3.4. Yeah, it's a 10K.
Okay, yeah, and then biked a ton, 112 miles, I think, and then a full marathon. And we got that right. So when we get into talking about courage and doing hard things, I know she's going to be an expert at that. My only claim to fame is wanting to do an Ironman and getting terrified in open water swim. So
I have an answer for you for that. I do. I have an answer. It's in the background. We can talk about that too.
Yeah, we could definitely get to that at some point. You can tell, like, athletes, like, we connect, and I also get the maximum amount for my entry fees as well. But I would love to get into, a lot of people in the audience that I have are job seekers and maybe recently been laid off. I know you have been through that. I have been through that. Mine was in May. Would you like to tell a little bit about your layoff story? And especially if you kind of saw it coming, didn't see it coming, what was going on?
I mean, let's say where we were at, there's always back chatter. There's always that feeling. And you're sometimes not sure if that feeling is just yourself having doubt, or you're being paranoid, or something might have just not gone right in your job and you get stuck on it. And you hear a lot from people, don't worry, it's okay. You're going to be fine. Just keep doing what you're doing. Right. So did I know it was coming? No. Did I maybe suspect? Possibly. But I don't it's a feeling, right? You just get this feeling. This is my second time for Microsoft, actually, where I was working, to get laid off there. The first one was a complete surprise, and I was a youngin' at the time. This one, it was like I was surprised and not shocked, kind of. But it still hurts. It still hurts, and I think the hardest thing is always going into the next role having fear that you're going to lose this one again. Even when I had this last role, I had that fear that I was going to get laid off because the last time, right? And so you always have that. And I think what I tell my kids is bravery is doing things even through fear, right? Okay. Because you're scared, you are brave. Mm-hmm. So you can't get stuck in the fear. You can't get, the fight or flight or freeze. You just got to keep going and trying to make sure that you have either you're risk tolerant or you have a plan B, right? So I would say yes and no to the answer of did I expect it? Did I want it? No, of course not. Um, but I try and say one, because I've been through it before, I know I'm going to get a role. And for those who haven't met me yet or haven't given me the offer yet or who are going to the offer, I know that I'm going to land a fantastic place doing hard things because that is attractive to me.
Mm-hmm.
And if those people are missing out, they are, but I know I'm going to land in a great place.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Especially when my own layoff, it's kind of like I heard the whispers too. So in fact, I had heard loud screams on Blind that it was coming to my division. So I was just like, yeah, it's going to be me. But to your point, it still stung. The even if I suspected it, that validation, I didn't want that validation, right? But I did, and I was surprised at the people they let go that were my coworkers. I thought I was vulnerable. I didn't think they were. So I just relate so much when you're talking about that. So we met through mentorship, and I would love to. Was maybe 3 weeks ago, you started mentioning what you were doing as a small project on the side. I think it was 3 weeks ago, if not 4. But I'd love to hear about your little 3-minute Thursdays and that journey into trying something new.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the differences between this layoff and the last layoff is I feel like there's a bigger community out there at this time, right? There, you have the Mentorship Live, there's other communities. And instead of feeling like there's this stigma or this disease that I have, people are like, no, come over to my house. You're not contagious in a negative sense, right? People want to help and want to get things done. And so one of the things that I am fantastic about doing in a job, outside of a job, is getting to know people's stories. You get a lot of information that way, as well as you get the ability to help influence and also drive alignment in the projects that you're doing. If you know the other people and things about them and you're connecting with people and you're connecting different possibilities, right? So one of the things on this networking, finding different opportunities, I'm also trying to figure out this new city that I'm in or town, is I get to meet people. And then the stories are amazing. Like when I was training for my Ironman, the people that I was meeting would kind of tell me, oh yeah, I'm swimming across the channel. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I want to do that someday. Oh, maybe not. Those jellyfish are scary. Or they do Magellan, or, like there's other people taking on some great things. Or if you've seen some of my 3-minute Thursday, I don't know if your audience has or not, they should check them out. But like people from my network that I've interviewed, Rosemary Lockhurst, she was like the expert of ostriches in Europe at one point in time in her life. And you're just like, okay, she has practiced, she has driven a Formula One car. Like, you just meet these people with great stories. And sometimes I just kind of felt like I want to share my network with other people. And I was starting to do that in emails and like making these other connections, because when I have the time, right, I want to help others. It's not necessarily about me. I fight more for other people than I do for myself. When I say fight, defend, I go to bat for the customer more so than the internal, right? Mm-hmm. Those kinds of things. So when we were talking and you were just at the Mentorship Live one day and you're like, just press play, just press post, just press the button and get it out there. And I've played with different ideas. Like at one point in time, I'm like, I want to write a book, because one of the things that I want to develop is my writing and my voice and things like that. And I haven't pressed play on it because it's one of those skills that I really need to challenge myself on. But this one, I'm like, I can talk to the camera. I can talk to myself, because, when you're looking at the camera, you're kind of looking at yourself. And it's not that I like to hear my voice, but I like to hear others. And I can ask the question and give them a platform, because some people aren't comfortable going on and having a monologue. So I'll ask you questions. Um, all of our attention spans are like gnats. So I was like, let's do something simple. And more people are going to say yes to something short to doing something short than something long.
Yes,
So
I can vouch to that right now. In this, I'm looking for guests and whatnot to come on this.
it's bite size. I probably, if I was an audience person, I would still be listening to it at 2.5 speed. Like, I need it to go faster all the time. So that's kind of how I'm getting into that.
Mhm.
I've reviewed business cases from other people. I've reviewed pitch decks. Um, I've set up templates. I might be helping somebody by being a guest lecturer at their class that they're teaching. Like, I'm picking up different kinds of things, but I
Mhm.
think I'm having fun the most with the 3 Minute Thursday. I don't know where it's going to go, but right now I just like doing them.
That is so much my language because there are so many times. Well, I mean, like you quoted me, is just press the button, right? And that's usually when I'm scared of a thing that is actually my body or my brain kind of giving me the signal of that's probably what I should do. so, it, and I've learned that I would rather find out what the story, how the story turns out by having pushed the button than wondering what if for so long. So I love what you're doing as far as building so much around who you are, what you're challenging yourself to do, and what you've already challenged yourself to do. Is there any learning that you've had, I guess, since pushing the button? I know you're kind of just starting it, so it may be like learning yet to come, but I,
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. We're always learning. So yes, learning is coming. I think the hardest thing for me, and I was working on it with Tori Graff, who I also interviewed, was kind of reflecting back on what my voice is, right? That is probably the biggest challenge out there is what is my authentic voice? I've been in corporate world so much that you start kind of watering down your own individuality. So you have to go back and say, what do I sound like? In the written word, I'm really good live. Like, I'm really good verbally in the sense of this is my voice. I don't necessarily script and things like that. So finding my voice and my personality in my writing or my scripting or whatever is the hardest part. What sets me apart from other people? How do I sound compared to AI? Right. Of
Mhm.
course, AI is helping me on things. Of course, I like to edit the things that they're coming out. But I think our uniqueness is our power, our humanity, and things like that. So instead of approaching things with the vanilla corporate speak, what is me? I mean, what I've always heard, watched, what is it, the Wendy's on Twitter who's, like trolling all of the other ones. I can't remember those different ones. And they just have found their voice and they're like, this is who we are. That we're having fun. And I think you can find fun in every place. Um, that I probably learned when I was really young. I volunteered as a kid in search and rescue. I think you mentioned that in the post that you had. And even when you're dealing with floods, even when you're dealing with finding somebody, you have to have some levity or else it just gets exhausting, right? The depression, the sadness just weighs on you. So if you're having fun, if we're doing this, if I'm interviewing somebody, got to throw a curveball in there, let's have fun. So that's another thing with my voice is making sure that I'm always a little casual, a little comfortable, a little fun. That's the biggest challenge. I think the other one that I'm haven't really figured out how I'm going to solution is what I want to do with this. Some people say monetize, some people say don't monetize, some people say, well, what are people getting out of this? And of the 3 Minute Thursday, I'm like, the thing that everybody should be getting out of 3 Minute Thursday, the reason you watch it is it's just a different way of extending your network.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of searching LinkedIn or being like, who's this person? Who's this picture? Oh, there's the video. That's that person. Right. So that's the value. Do I know what that means to different people? I don't know, but we'll see.
Yep, I love that, and I do want to just highlight the everybody has a story to tell. Like we are speaking the same language so much on that, and just sitting and listening to the unique things that people have done or skill sets that are like, well, that's weird. Because I don't understand any of it. But often people will think the things that are easy to them or that they do day to day are not interesting to someone else. And I'm like, no, 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 no. You could probably fascinate somebody just on how you make coffee in the mornings. Because they'd be like, oh, I never thought of getting that cup, or just whatever that looks like. I think we often discredit ourselves for how interesting we can be to someone else. So anyway,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
I don't find it interesting that I've done an Ironman. I don't find it hard, but other people do. I mean, I'm not saying that it was painless and I was super fast and everything was easy. It 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 just is for me. It's my job. Like there's just sometimes those statements where it just is. Like one of the other things is I'm from Washington State, and then I decided to go to the university on the East Coast. I went early decision. I hadn't gone to the school. I hadn't met the coach because, yes, I played basketball. All of these things, and I went. And people were like, why are you going without knowing all of the things? And I was like, I guess I could go hug a tree in Central Park. It's only for 4 years, right? I would rather try something and then adjust to it than, as you said, I just wondering what could have been. Why not? Just go do it.
Yeah, I was actually working on some posts today, writing, what is my content going to be for a while, and one of them really was about just like celebrating other people's success and trying that thing, like because it's trying a new thing you just said it brilliantly. It's a temporary effort to see how it goes, and you can celebrate other people and you can encourage other people to try those things. I have so many people that are in that kind of stuckness of, oh, I don't know if I should reach out to somebody on LinkedIn. I don't know if I should post. I don't know. And there's all this fear that is screaming in their minds. I would love for you to talk about just that courageousness. Because to me, finishing an Ironman is something that I had on the perhaps I will do this one day. And then I didn't like 2 of the 3 sports. So then I just marathoned a lot. So, but to me, it is like this massive ordeal. And you're like, yeah, it just is.
I think it's because I make things very simple to myself. If I think something's big and hard and crazy, then it becomes big, hard, and crazy. Like when I went to school, it was like in New York, it was like, I guess I got to hug a tree. I guess that's what I'm going to miss at home because a lot of people, it's like family, it's the known or whatever. And I was like, no, but that's my family loves me and they'll always be there. So I can go do these things. Right. So that wasn't a big weight for me. I was like, the only other difference to me, I guess, is the environment. I'm going from the forest to the city. So it's like, I guess I'm hugging a tree. Ironman. So what you see, let's see if I can point right there. Can you see the New Zealand thing? That was my 4th attempt at an Ironman, and it was my first finish.
Nice.
So there was one time I was stuck in the water in Mexico for 3 hours. That was fun. I was in the mountains of Canada, still climbing past the cutoff times, right? But that one with the Ironman thing, I just think about it this way. You're floating, you're riding a bike, and you're walking. You're floating, you're riding a bike, and you're walking. The other thing in my head, I don't get off the course unless somebody pulls me off the course. I don't give myself the option to not continue.
Yeah.
Because yes, getting to the start line is one thing, and then it's getting to the finish line. So I just don't give myself that option, which works out sometimes. Sometimes that doesn't work out when you should really listen to your body and get off the course. But if you think about the swim, because you were saying open water swimming. I don't like the sharks. I'm not a
Bingo. Like I watched Jaws way too young as a kid.
um the good or the bad. I might have already, poisoned my son against sharks. Sharks are they're part of the ecosystem. I don't want all sharks to disappear in the world. I just don't want them near me. Any size shark, really, because the big ones are the biggest. But New Zealand, it is a freshwater swim on a really clear lake, and you can see all the way to the bottom.
That's how to do it. That is how to do it.
Because another race that I did, not as long, was Escape from Alcatraz. The entire time of the swim, and it's not a long swim, I don't remember how long it was. All I remember about it is I swear I was seeing a shark every time I looked over my right shoulder, every time I came out of the water on the right side. It was not a shark. It was the Golden Gate Bridge. Every time. Every time. It's a thing for me. So, but if you think about it as the float, you're riding a bike and you're walking. I walked. On this one, I was walking with somebody who had a rough day. I caught up to her when she was in her marathon run. Again, run. No. And we had about 6.5 hours to go to do the whole marathon. And so you're running-ish and walking and things like that. And we just chatted the whole time, and we collected these bracelets, and we called them accessorizing. And we got the Tiffany, the Hermes. Like we played with it and had fun, and we just continued to talk while we were walking. The other one, I don't think you can't see it from here. It's way, way over there on my wall. Was Marathon des Sables, and that's 6 marathons over 6 days. But you do take a break one of those days because the day before you did 2 marathons in one day and you ran at night. That one, you just got to keep going. You just keep going. You carry all of your stuff. The only thing they provide is the water. But here's the thing, like I would pass people on the walk. Like just think, what is it, Monty Python, where they have that walking scene where, they keep coming at you and they're just, it's like that when you pass somebody at my speed, you're still passing them. And they were just so down in the dumps. And one of the things I carried with me was some Skittles and some candy. And I would just, hey, do you want some sugar? And changes your entire focus. We're just on a walk. We're hiking with our friends or having a little candy and we move on. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do, is I just make things really simple.
Yeah, I like that. It's like you break it down into what is that next thing. I think of like Frozen 2, where it's like, what is that next best thing? And I love that line in it because it really is. If you're paralyzed with fear, what is that next, literally single step? What is the next single step that you can do to reach a goal? So then I guess it comes back to, do you have a goal in mind? Like all of these events, like, what that goal is. You're either going to finish or you're going to get pulled off the course, but you're going to do one of those 2 things.
And for me, the race was the goal. Mm-hmm. Well, sort of. I was an athlete. I was always in the gym. I was always working out. And then after I graduated, I wasn't playing anymore. And I was like, what am I going to do? I don't want to be the gym rat, because I worked at the gym. Not only did I practice, I worked there. And I was like, I need something more to get me to go work out. I was like, maybe I'll do a triathlon. I've heard of these things. And then I thought about it in my head, and I'm like, I think that might be too easy for me. I think I could just go do one now. And I did. I went out and I just did one. Right. It wasn't super fast, but I finished it. And I know my limitations. I'm never going to be a podium finisher. I don't care how much I train. It's just not in the cards for me at 6'4" white girl who's bigger. It's just not going to happen. And so to get me to work out, and I needed a big, hard challenge. Again, you still simplify it in the end. And so I took on this just to get me working out. because I didn't want to just go to the gym to lose weight.
Yeah, I like that. And I think I want to, since we are particularly talking about authenticity and connection, you kind of mentioned that you do that almost as a natural course of who you are. You're literally on a trail, you're running a race, and you're like, who's this person that I can talk to? I am, again, we share the same brain in this. I almost always am like, at the end of the day, you're going to be a marathoner, a half marathoner, just somebody to encourage somebody. So I'd love to hear about like maybe the connections that you're making, or how to encourage, even when people come on your 3-minute Thursdays, how are you encouraging those people to just be themselves, especially if it's something new that they're trying for the first time? Like,
the good news is I think all of us who vibe in the same way get to know each other. So most of my friends and who are in my network are pretty authentic people. They're like, I don't want to deal with that stuff. Right. And so luckily that's not usually a hard sell for me. I think the hard sell for me is I ask the question in all of them, what are you going to stop pretending? I think almost every single one of them that I've asked now, I think only one person had like an actual answer, like an answer of something they were stopping pretending. And that was around imposter syndrome. But they all said, I don't pretend. I mean, even if you look at mine that I did, it's really hard for me to pretend. This face, one of my development areas is being more steady and calm, and less expressive. Because when you're working with somebody, when you're working in a team, it's all about how you can make things go easier and happen faster. And if you're expressing all of your emotions, whether they have to do with what they've said, or you went on a squirrel to think about something else, it comes out, and then they pause, they reflect, and you might get more tension, and it won't get done as quickly as you want. Mm-hmm. So there is some times where you have to think about your authenticity and how you come across, to whether it is really creating a blocker with the rest of the team and the respect that is there and things like that. So when I say authenticity, there's always limits to things when it comes to hurting others, right? You're not authentic to the point where you're mean to somebody else, right? Or, you're not authentic at the expense of somebody else. Mm-hmm. So I want to say authenticity without exception, but sometimes you got to read the room and understand. We haven't talked about, we've never met in person yet. When I come back up to Seattle, we'll have to meet. One of the things growing up that I always had was I was always the tallest person in the room everywhere I went. It wasn't something that I could get away from. And I think that taught me the authenticity, because there's nothing you could do. It's not about the clothes I was wearing. It wasn't, I couldn't go buy something, or it was this or that. I was me. And so I just had to show up. I couldn't fit in anybody's box. And I think that kind of gave me the okay to be who I was in most situations, because I'm like, whatever rules that you're going to put on me as a woman, or me as whatever label, I'm probably not going to fit into it. Even if you label me, a D1 basketball player, I probably won't fit in, because I'm also a super geek, right? Like, so that's me on the authenticity piece of it, the connecting to others, the fact that I talk with people authentically sometimes also gets them to be authentic. Mm-hmm. I'm a mess. They could be a mess. So it's kind of leading by example, right? Yeah. There are some people in my network who don't want to come on because they're nervous, they're camera shy, they're security concerned, which is valid, 100%. Security conscious. But if it's not them, it's not them. I'm not going to push anybody into it. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
I could have used your coaching way back when I overcame my career gap and got into corporate world. I had no idea like about the corporate authenticity, and I would just kind of tell things the way they are. And then over time, I was like, I think that I've already, I don't know, put my foot in my mouth so many times. It was like, can I even recover from this in this role? But they're neither here nor there, but I love the point is like authentic to a point and really learn how to read the room. Those are the skills that actually I started learning maybe in the last year and a half even. So it's that continuous journey of sometimes we as humans don't realize where we need that work until we start seeing some of the consequences of it, or getting feedback that is helpful, even though it might feel a little late on the progress chain. But
The growth mindset, you're always getting feedback, and you know what, it's always up to you as whether you're going to take that feedback on board or you're just it doesn't serve you. You have to decide if it's going to serve you or not. Like, I had to be aware you're talking about corporate expectations or whatever. Me as a 6'4" woman walking into a room, and this is in the live case and we'll talk about the digital case, walking into a room for the first time will get different reactions based on how I do it and what I'm wearing. If I'm wearing a 3-piece suit with a skirt, without a skirt, doesn't really matter. I have I'm perceived differently. Likely it will become very formal. Likely everybody goes on the defense. Not very helpful if you're trying to get information and build a community and a team. Yeah. But I mean, if something is going wrong and I need to put the hammer down, potentially you would see that out of me, right? Like, you can also use the feedback that you've gotten to your advantage, right? To help you achieve the goal that you're looking for authentically. Can I be very strict, very formal, and very straightforward? Absolutely. That's within me. Am I normally casual, go with the flow, we'll come up with something? Yes. Yeah. So the hardest thing that I struggle with is this digital world, right? Because it's not physical. My presence is no longer physical. I am this box that you see. I am this face. So how do I show up? For me, I take it very kind of far, in the sense of everything on my background is me. And I do this to invite connection, not because I'm showing off. Not, like, I'm not, but if you know what this is, we'll have a conversation. If somebody mentions this painting, I'll be like, yeah, I did that. And this painting changes. Yes, I did that painting. Most of the things on my right side I've done. Like, I created it. The books, the Disney stuff, the tchotchkes are different places I've been. Again, for me, it's not, look at all the places I've been. Look at my creativity. It's actually it's kind of like the bumper sticker on the back of your car. Looking for connection. Yep. Right? So for me, the right choice is to have an unblurred background sharing what it's like. Now, granted, I have over here is still a mess, because can I still say I moved in a year and I got a messy place back here? But
say whatever you need to. But yeah.
But that, I mean, for me, showing up as me is when I have a one-to-one, when I'm meeting with anybody, is I am more successful creating a community and creating similar experiences and showing the similarities between myself and the other people. And so I do that not by, saying it directly, but it's very passive. If you want to talk about any of the things, happy to.
I did that also. It was because when I first started back in corporate world, I was very used to stay-at-home mom life, right? And it's that kind of connection, especially as a military spouse. It was just, it's like we planted. It was the expectation that you get plugged in, and those connections were easy. And then corporate world, it was just like, does anybody see me? How do I even get noticed? All these things, and some of the best connections came when I dropped the business casual stuff, and I mean like the little blazer and jacket sort of thing, and wore a Hamilton t-shirt or a sweatshirt. And then it would just, that's the thing. And that's exactly why I also choose to have this background, is because we will remember other people so much more if we make that small connection. Be it that I have Clippy over my shoulder, and I still keep Clippy over my shoulder because I love him. He's fun. And he does cause conversation to happen just by having that presence. So I love what you do in that. And I think that's almost the point. Sometimes authenticity is, it's not always about what you say. It's like, are you showing up as who you are without hiding some aspect of yourself? Because you feel like you have to, which is the covering and all those things that people do. And it's unfortunate that people feel like they have to, but it is the reality sometimes that biases are out there. So I liked your point about going first. Be that first one to open the door, be the first one to open the conversation.
I mean, let's talk about the limits, right? You did talk about bias. I know people who, one, don't like to be on the screen. And if they're on screen, they can't be their authentic self, then don't. Right? Or if you get self-conscious with whatever's behind you, then don't. Like, I'm not judging you either way. It's just, for me, one way that I decided, hey, if any of this resonates with you, I'm also open to connecting. Right? Like, and it's that invitation that I allow out there in the world. Now, what are other limitations in the corporate world that I have heard? It's distracting. All of this, you are distracting. Somebody I follow-ish on the talk, maybe on Facebook, I don't know. Elise Myers, I think she has a saying, if I'm too much, then go find less, right? Sometimes I feel that way, but at the same time, if your job is to get somebody very focused on the message that you are saying, on getting them to do something, and all of what are you wearing, what is behind you is causing them to be too distracted. Potentially, maybe this is, maybe they're neurospicy, and having all of this makes them think about all of these things, and they're no longer paying attention to what you're saying. Then don't, right? So read the room, read what's happening. Sometimes, yes, you're right. Sometimes it's masking when it's unhealthy, right? When you're not okay with it in the end. But sometimes you're like, for a moment, right now, this is my priority. This is what I'm going for. So I don't know, this authenticity, there's that gray area in there where it's like based on social conventions or corporate conventions or whatever, where you have to think about it.
Yeah. I love all those points because there are things that are important to think about when you're trying to discover not so much who you are. I mean, some people still need to go on that journey on who am I when the cameras aren't on. But then what is that person you want to be in the room, and like trying to figure those things out. And there are, as I had to learn the hard way, boundaries that I should have kept in place with authenticity. And I'm not trying to shame myself for all these things. I just actually am positive it affected promotions and various things as well, because I didn't know better. But almost like the court of law, like not knowing is no excuse, right?
But would you do it differently?
Would I do it differently?
Would you do it differently?
I would today. Like if I were starting a new job today, I absolutely would approach meetings and whatnot different. But I would not change. I wouldn't change who I am. I would change what I share. And I'm talking about just me as a human. Not that I wouldn't eventually get there, but sometimes when I say go first, sometimes I would go first before the relationship had marinated in any way. to get to know, like, well, what is this relationship going to be in a professional world? So that's what I would do, is learn a little bit more, ask a few more questions, get to know that other person more. And then when that opportunity came to bridge that gap between, okay, well, here we are professionally, unless they were asking me about Clippy over my shoulder, then I would absolutely be like, oh yeah, well, I used to work for Microsoft, and I tell them the story about why I got a 3D printed Clippy instead of a crochet Clippy, so because I had that opportunity. But it's things like that where I would have just pause, and I go back to what you said early on, read the room and take in those pieces. Still go first if I need to, but who is this person? What are they going to value? And I think it make it about the other person a lot. What are they going to value in this relationship? So
I guess spoiler alert, or look for it coming soon. I just finished up shooting one 3-minute Thursday with another person in my network, Maria. So look for this one. Her number one piece of advice: go into the room and do nothing. Listen, observe, right? Read the room. That's how you're going to be able to connect with the people. Now, it gets a little weird when everybody's doing the same thing, because if you're all just sitting in the room, it's like being at a 4-way stop in Washington State where nobody goes because they just want to be polite. But yes, take a second, marinate everyone. If everybody came to the meeting for the first 5 minutes and said nothing, I wonder what would happen.
Yeah.
I wonder what that space would create and the connections that would be driven, because maybe they took bad energy from one meeting and came into the next meeting, and they could just let it go in that 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So there is something to say about being silent.
Yeah. I learned some of that has come just from being an improviser and taking classes around that. And there was one class where we literally, I actually don't know how long it was, but it felt like eternity, where we just sat in front of one person and we looked at them and said nothing for the longest time. And that person became like the safe person in the room for me, almost like an anchor of, oh, if I feel uncertain, where is he? And it goes to what would happen if you said nothing. And it could be that the temperature does, and I say cool down only if somebody comes in there heightened or really anxious or any of those things. It could pull that anxiety down and let somebody just breathe. I'm kind of curious too. Like, I don't know, maybe we could have spent the first 5 minutes staring at each other on this call, but no, I think we wouldn't retain anybody for long. But it is really, it's like observing and listening. And I used to be that person where if it was quiet, I felt like somebody had to say something. And now it's a lot easier for me to just sit and connect visually, listen, truly listen to what the other person says. And you're so right, that connection comes in that more than saying something sometimes. Let somebody else be the star of the show.
You're allowing somebody the space they need to be authentic, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I love it. Well, we are getting close to the end of our discussion here, but I would love to, since you are on the job search, I would love for you to just mention what you are looking for, and then how do people find you? And if anybody is out there saying, I need to be on her 3-minute Thursdays, what is the best way for people to get your attention? And that yeah. I don't know what to put after that. And
I think the best way to get my attention, it's all on LinkedIn, right? I haven't done a YouTube. I haven't done the talk. It's just on the LinkedIn. So just DM me on the LinkedIn, connect with me on the LinkedIn. If I'm not connected to you, or if I haven't gotten back to you and I don't know you, right? Maybe get somebody I know to also poke me a little bit, nudge me, give me a nudge. And we'll do that. For what I'm looking for, honestly, the kind of job that I just love is the job where the job description itself is hard to write. You don't know what you need, but you need to go do something and achieve something around you probably have a little bit more. I'm absolutely love ambiguity and
I was about to
chaos.
say you love
Right?
when they say turn order out of chaos, or okay with ambiguous
Yeah,
situations. I've seen that
right.
many times on job descriptions.
Right. Like but if you can write a job description, you're like, here's your daily task list. Probably not me, right? If you want me to create a daily task list to get a thing done, I can totally do that. But if it's very rote, as some people would say, sausage making, not mine. If it's coming up with what sausages you want to make and how we're going to do it and how often and who's our target audience, that's my kind of jam. Those are kind of the roles. So sometimes they're called product managers, program managers,
Usually starts with P,
customer,
right?
yeah, like customer executives. What is those kinds of roles are the most intriguing to me for sure. So that is kind of what I'm looking for. Gals have to be a great team, like the people, right? So that's what I'm looking for. I am residing in California. I know some of your audiences in Washington State. They're looking for people local. I'm down here getting some vitamin D that I've missed for most of my life.
I'm jealous a little bit, but
Yeah, it's good stuff. Oh wait, it rained yesterday. I think sometime recently it did. And then 3-Minute Thursday. I'm putting them out every Thursday. If somebody wants to press go and they're getting nervous and they just want to record one now, I will record it and post it when I can. Right now, we got healthy. I think one that's
I'm
coming
actually
soon.
about to record one with you in just a few minutes. So,
Uh-huh.
spoiler, I'm going to be on 3-Minute Thursday, and I'm very excited about it. So check those out. I assume, they'll be on your profile from where you posted
Yep.
the past posts. So check them out. They're fun, and I love that you decided just to press play and do the thing. And I'm going to encourage everybody watching today to press play and do the thing. And one last tiny question: is there something you wish I would have asked you about that I didn't? It's okay if the answer is no.
I don't know. Should you have asked me more about my family?
Okay.
Like maybe what it's like to be a mom who's working, but you're a mom who's working, so that doesn't make necessary sense. But yeah, the
I
working
just
mom
empty
thing.
nested yesterday. I dropped my youngest off at college, so now it's like momming is very different. So, it
You're
goes by.
you're remote momming.
I'm
I'm
remote
I'm
momming, and
I'm in office momming at this
yes,
point.
and I was a stay-at-home mom when the kids were your age. So it's like I admire so much people who are balancing all the things and doing it well. Because so kudos to you for um, making that work. Yeah,
It takes
it's
a
like
unit.
no
It
matter how
takes
you
a
choose
team.
to mom, there are challenges. I
Yeah,
know.
for sure. I
Yeah.
think that's the only thing that I could come up with.
Okay. Well, then thanks for being here. I'm going to end this, and I can even say that I'm at a lull for guests as well. So if anybody is watching this and you're like, I have a story to tell about connection, authenticity, any of those things, I'm just called open to connect. So reach out to me as well. And thank you again for being here. I loved your story. I loved your a lot of points on how to find that authenticity, but keep it corporate or keep it not, or how to choose and find find those things for yourself. So thank
Awesome.
you. Yeah.
Thanks, Dylan. Appreciate it.
Bye.